Yo.
What's going on, CK Nation? It's your boy, the Boss Man CK, and on today's episode of the Full Throttle, we're bringing you some of the biggest action this weekend as NASCAR, O'Reilly Series, and Cup Series all travel down to Georgia to Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta, where drivers would battle the draft, changing conditions, and also we had a little bit of weather that held it up for a little bit. Also, we headed over to Lime Rock Park, where road course racing brought a completely different challenge. Braking zones, technical corners, drivers fighting every lap for a championship. We're going to break this all down with Justin Allgaier doing his thing in the O'Reilly Series, Ryan Blaney getting it done, Shane Van Gisbergen and Austin Hill meeting in the NASCAR hauler, and ARCA Series and Truck Series running their at the road course in Lime Rock, and Thomas Azuda getting a big win for Nitro Motorsports, and Grant Enfinger finally getting it done for CR7 this season. So, we're all gas, no brakes, full throttle for Kyle, and let's get to it.
Turn the night into day. City slicker see us coming and get out of the way. They're sipping on lattes, we're cracking the cold one. Life in the fast lane, now we're just having more fun. They talk about they high rise, I talk about my live.
Alright, as we start, we had Cup and O'Reilly Series action this weekend at Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta, where the racing is fast, aggressive, and unpredictable ever since they did the repave there. Atlanta has developed a reputation as one of the most exciting tracks on the NASCAR schedule. The track's high speed and unique racing style creates racing that reminds many fans of super speedway competition. Drivers have to work together, make smart moves, and know exactly when to make their attack. And this weekend, the O'Reilly Series delivered another thrilling performance. In the O'Reilly Series, it was Justin Allgaier who found that perfect combination of speed, strategy, and timing. Allgaier battled through the field, stayed patient during the long green flag runs, and positioned himself for the opportunity when it mattered the most. At a track like Echo Park Speedway, drivers cannot simply drive away from the competition anymore. They have to manage the draft, protect their position, and make the right moves when the pressure is at its highest. And when the final laps arrived, Allgaier was exactly where he needed to be to get that number 6 victory. Or 5. I think it's 6. 5. Hold on, I will verify that real quick. But I'm pretty sure it's 6. Yep. So he went to victory lane for the 6th time this season and also claimed the regular season championship. So he will be the points leader when the points reset. The result was a trip to victory lane, another big statement from one of the most experienced drivers in the O'Reilly Series and Junior Motorsports. For Justin Allgaier, this win showed why experience matters. Knowing when to push, when to save equipment, and when to make the winning move can be the difference between finishing inside the top 5 and celebrating a victory. So, next we had the NASCAR Cup Series as it came to Atlanta for Echo Park Speedway this past weekend. And it brought even more drama as weather became a major storyline. The race was delayed by rain, forcing teams and drivers and fans to wait while Mother Nature changed the schedule. They got about, I think it was 49 laps in when the rain hit. And then next thing you know, it was like a 2-hour rain delay. They didn't really get going until almost midnight. But once the racing returned, the competition picked right back up. And Ryan Blaney had a dominant car from starting on the pole, was able to make his moves, handle the changing conditions, and put himself in the position for one of the biggest moments of the weekend. Blaney showed patience, race awareness throughout the event in a race where strategy and timing were everything, and he was able to avoid trouble, stay competitive, and make the moves necessary that when the opportunity came. Teams, when rain delays come, they always bring challenges from the track going to what they call a green track, which means all the tire rubber that was laid down on that track before the rain came probably was washed off. So now you're going out there to a clean track, green track with no tire rubber or anything. Teams must adjust plans, drivers must stay focused, and everyone has to be ready for anything. And in the end, Ryan Blaney delivered when it counted most and earned his second victory of the season at Echo Park Speedway. And it's still a pretty full, I wouldn't say all the way full, but pretty consistent challenger possibly for that championship as well, and to make some noise in the chase. And he's the most successful driver right now this season out of Penske and for Fords. So him getting in victory lane last night also gave Ford a little bit more momentum. So, away from the action, last week we had an altercation between SVG and Austin Hill. So, another interesting moment happened when Shane Van Gisbergen and Austin Hill had to have conversations with NASCAR officials in the race hall, in the NASCAR hauler before this past weekend's activities at Echo Park. The NASCAR hauler is where many important discussions happen. Drivers and teams meet with officials to review situations from tracks, discuss rules, and get clarifications on decisions. These conversations are part of what makes NASCAR work. With cars racing inches apart at incredible speeds, communication between drivers, teams, and officials is extremely important. Whether it's discussing a racing incident, understanding a rule, or making sure everyone is on the same page, these meetings help keep the competition fair and safe. But they were in the hauler to talk about what happened. As you all know, they've been having an issue all the way back since Coronado. And I even put a reel out on this for last week. But, as y'all saw, some people say that what SVG did to Austin Hill at Chicagoland last weekend was payback. Some say no, it was a racing incident. Some say they got upset and said, well, if I was Ryan Preece, SVG did the same thing I did, I'd be saying something about it. Well, here's the thing. Here's the difference between Ryan Preece and SVG. Ryan Preece admitted and announced on the radio what he was going to do to Ty Gibbs at Texas when he did. He made it very clear, very, very, very clear what his intentions were. SVG, when asked about it, whether he did it intentionally or not, said it was a racing incident and he didn't mean to do it. He didn't admit to, I wrecked him on purpose. So what? He said it was an accident. Now, Austin Hill, when he came back out off of pit road, showed his frustrations and door slammed SVG. We all know that was intentional, but a lot of you are saying, from comments I've read, from what I've heard on different shows and podcasts, a lot of you said Austin Hill should be the only one to get penalized. Well, here's my thing, and I'm going to ask y'all this as well, like I asked on the reel. If that's the case, if we penalize Austin Hill for coming out and door slamming SVG, then why don't we go all the way back to 2006 again, when Carl Edwards did the same thing to Dale Jr. in the Busch race and door slammed him and about took his hand off? We need to penalize him then as well. See what I'm saying? Like, this is a two-sided sword when it comes to what we should think should be penalized and what we shouldn't. What things should be let go, what shouldn't. And that's how times evolve with NASCAR. And I honestly think sometimes they're more lenient on things. They do have that new rule out, or that new saying out there. They let drivers police it between themselves to a certain extent. So they went and talked in the hauler. SVG said, by what I heard, he felt like one driver understood and was humble about it. Another one felt threatened and felt like the situation was going to continue. Didn't say which one was which. He didn't say if he was a driver threatened or a driver humble, or Austin Hill vice versa. Then when they talked to Austin Hill, he just said they chatted, they had a conversation, and the typical I'm ready to move on and looking forward to today's race. So we'll see what happens. I don't know who thought who, and I'm not going to say who I thought felt they were threatened and that it may keep on. But we'll see what happens in the upcoming races, I'm sure. See, and here's the thing though, with Austin Hill, only thing he's really racing for is possibly a future seat in Cup Series and staying in the 33. He's not really getting no points for his finishes. He's not being recorded for championship points in the Cup. So he may be just, all he's really racing for is a full-time ride in Cup. But at the same point too, he's got nothing to lose. SVG, on the other hand, is racing for a championship. And I believe right now, let me look at the points before I say the wrong thing. Yeah. SVG's 15th in points right now. He's in the chase. So he's kind of got to watch himself too. So we'll see what happens. That's what makes NASCAR great, between the racing and the rivalries. So we'll see what happens and what carries on. All right. Then moving on, we have road course action at Lime Rock Park. Road course racing requires a different kind of skill set. Heavy braking zones, sharper corner entries, tire management, consistency lap after lap. Unlike oval racing, there is no easy rhythm. Every corner presents a new challenge. The track series and ARCA competitors took on Lime Rock, and the racing developed plenty of excitement. First up, we had the ARCA Menard series, and Thomas, forgive me if I blast his name wrong, Ananazita. Thomas Ananazita had a weekend to remember. Driving for Nitro Motorsports, Ananazita battled his way to victory lane at Lime Rock Park to get his first win of the season. And it just was more than a trophy. It was a major championship moment. With that victory, Ananazita now closes in on his teammate, Jake Bowman, for the points championship. And puts more pressure on each driver as they have about, I think, 8 races to go in the season. Road course racing rewards drivers who can stay consistent and avoid mistakes. One missed braking point or one trip off course can change an entire race. Anunazita kept his focus and executed when it mattered and earned a huge win for Nitro Motorsports. Then we had the Truck Series, as they had a special moment at Lime Rock Park as well. They went road course racing, and in the end, for CR7 Motorsports, Grant Enfinger reached victory lane for the first time this season. For any driver with a team, that first win of the year is a huge accomplishment. It represents the work behind the scenes, the preparation, the late nights, the adjustments, and the determination to keep fighting. Enfinger delivered when the opportunity came and gave CR7 Motorsports a moment they will remember. And it also put him in the top 10 of points for the chase. As you know, with the point standings for chase for each series, only the top 10 drivers make it in the truck, top 12 make it in O'Reilly's, and top 16 in Cup. So that was a good momentum win for Grant Enfinger as it bumped him in to the chase. A victory like this can change the direction of the season and build momentum heading into a championship stretch. So, from Echo Park Speedway to Lime Rock Park, this weekend showed everything we love about racing. Close battles, changing conditions, championship pressure, and drivers fighting until the very last lap. Congratulations again go out to Justin Allgaier, Ryan Blaney, Thomas Inuzita, and Grant Enfinger on making it to victory lane this weekend. So, with that being said, I'm the boss man, CK. And again, guys, thank you for always watching. Thank you for subscribing. I know there's some haters out there, not going to mention, but there are some haters out there that believe AI thumbnails are ruining YouTube. But I see the person's point, but I don't feel like they are. I feel like you can, whatever draws your fans is the best thing to do. But I do what I love because you guys love this, and I love sharing it with you. And I thank you guys for subscribing, liking, following the page on TikTok, social media, or TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. And now we are on Lime Aid, so check us out on there as well. But thank you guys always, CK Nation. Like I said, you guys are awesome, man. Like I said, every week, I love reading your comments. I love looking at things. I love seeing y'all interact with the polls that I put up on the reels. And just tuning in every week, man. Thank you guys. So, with that being said, I'm the boss man, CK. We're all gas, no brakes. Full throttle for Kyle. This has been another episode of the CK Motorsports Full Throttle. And I'll see y'all on the next one.